So I'm standing in front of our Matricaria or Feverfew planting here in our overwintered tunnel, and it is June 18th, and this is one of the later blooming varieties in our overwintered tunnel, or later blooming crops in our overwintered tunnel. We have 3 different varieties growing in here this year, and I'll talk a little bit about each one of them. They each have something a little bit different to offer. The first variety that I want to mention is right here. This is Magic Lime Green, and this is a really beautiful color. One of the things that I really love and I think makes this variety unique is the color range in these blooms. So they start out a little bit creamy, going to a little bit yellow at the center, and then at the very center a little bit of green. And so that kind of range of colors in these blooms makes them really versatile, and they mix and pair really well with a lot of other different flowers. I think that I've found this to be just a really wonderful and easy sort of go-to when looking to add bulk to bouquets or to pair with other things. This is a really easy choice. You can see the plant habit on both the Magic Lime Green and then this next variety, Tetra White. These plants are extremely vigorous. We have them staked and with a couple different layers of string to contain these plants. This is consistent with what we've seen in other years overwintering Feverfew or Matricaria. They do grow, they form a really dense planting that definitely needs support. And so that's something to consider if you're going to be trying this in an overwintered tunnel situation. Another thing, it's possible that these might be a little bit more manageable if they were at a less dense spacing. We have 3 rows per bed here, and they're spaced 6 inches apart. So that's something that could be worth experimenting with. But you can see just how healthy and how vigorous and how productive these plants are. So we'll be able to get a lot of stems off of these plantings. The next variety here is Tetra White, and I'd say that this is probably the most vigorous of the varieties that we've trialed in our overwintered tunnel for Matricaria or Feverfew. And this is, I think, consistent with what you would see in a field planting as well. This is one of the more vigorous varieties. So again, it makes it definitely something to think about in terms of management, but also just incredibly productive. I really love the kind of double white blooms on these. There are just layers of these little white petals, and they give a really, they just kind of look like fluffy clouds when you're either in a mass planting or a big bunch, or when working into a mixed bouquet. You can see another, again, just to show what the stems look like. You can see it's definitely more of a kind of airy, branchy sort of habit, similar again to the Magic Lime Green. Both of these, again, they're very productive, but these stems will probably take a little bit of cleaning, and there are a lot of side branches that you could, depending on what you're using them for, may be useful or not. And then I'm going to move down to the last variety that we have planted here, and this is Virgo. And hopefully you can see a little bit of these plants. You can see how vigorous the Tetra White is, but hopefully if you can see, the Virgo plants are really upright and very sturdy and not quite as tall or as vigorous in the tunnel planting compared to the other 2 varieties. And this is, again, consistent with what we would see in a field planting. Virgo tends to be a little shorter, a little stockier, and not quite as vigorous in a field. But this is one of the things that actually really makes it kind of shine in a tunnel, in an overwinter tunnel situation, because whereas these other varieties really do get pretty vigorous and definitely need staking, this kind of stays pretty straight and sturdy. The plants stay upright. And then what's also really nice about this variety is the quality of the stems. So again, where these other varieties tend to get a little bit more airy wiry with a lot of side branches that maybe need to be cleaned. Virgo, you can see just how straight and sturdy that stem is, and it really would require, again, depending on how you would choose to use it, minimal cleaning or stripping before it could be mixed right into a bouquet. So, and then you also have the kind of all the blooms come to a head at almost the same point. So this is a really nice point of color or focus, and again, a really high quality stem. So this is one of my favorites in the tunnel for that reason, just because of the stem quality and the kind of this nice cluster of blooms.